To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so we're back at the tiny house build again today, and unfortunately I didn't get anything recorded. I'm already dirty from the day's work. I tried to clean up before I got on camera, but I know somebody's going to complain that you need to take a shower before you go on camera. It's not professional. Today's been a pretty rough day on me and Carolyn. We had a tough go at it. My plan was I was going to go to the hardware store and get some supplies so I can get the IBC water tank up here so we can start having water up here. And you know, this has actually kind of stressed me out a little bit. I don't know why, but water is one of those things that I just can't seem to think, man, I can't live without water. Once I empty the tank and it starts to get transferred, I feel this need that it's got to be done in one day or we're not going to have water. I mean, we got bottled water. We prepared for bottled water. We got buckets filled with water. But here I am dirty, right? And if we hadn't had water today, I wouldn't be able to get a shower. What am I going to do? I don't know. It's just one of these compulsive things, I suppose. But I did go to the hardware store and I did get some insulation and a piece of plywood so I can go ahead and finish up my box, which was the plan for the day. Was I was going to go ahead and get the insulation installed, get the hose here, ran through the ventilation, get the wiring for the RV pump, and then I was going to bring the IBC tank up here, fill it up with water again after I drain it, get it hooked up so we could start having showers up here. The IBC tank was frozen this morning. I forgot to drain it last night. I should have drained it last night while it was thawed out, because daytime temperatures, it's thawed out enough that, you know, we could drain it. So tonight I'm going to have to drain it. So I'm going to get a shower tonight and then I'm going to drain it. And hopefully I don't get too dirty tomorrow where if I have to skip a shower tomorrow, I can skip one. I got a little lawnmower battery that I'm going to use to run the RV pump. People have said that I should consider buying a converter, a 12-volt converter, and that's a good point. I could have bought a 12-volt converter. The problem is trying to find one with high enough amps that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So what I ended up buying was a trickle charger. You can buy them at Walmart. And I got it on order. I just got an email that says it's going to come in on the 21st. This is the 10th, I believe. But the battery will run the pump for several days without me having to worry about the charging it back up. And if I need to charge it, I can take it down to the camper at night and let the camper charge it up. But so I have a little lawnmower battery right there. Then I'll bring up the Mary on-demand water heater and I'll hook it up right here. And I told you I'm going to bring a propane tank in the house. Again, I get so many comments that tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about, that it's just crazy. You don't do that. Don't do that. I feel safer with the propane tank in the house than I do with it outside the house. When I lived in Iowa, for a couple of years. I had a landlord, and he had a Memorial Day get-together with his family. A few days before the event, he was digging a hole to build a doghouse. Well, apparently, he hit the line, the propane line, and didn't know it. Well, propane has an additive put into it that makes it smell like raw eggs. But what had happened was when he punctured a line under the ground filtered out that smell. And so all that propane, being heavier in air, fell straight to the ground, went into his basement. Well, Memorial Day weekend comes around, his family is all inside, and he lights up the barbecue grill and it just blows the house. I mean, there wasn't anything left. I drove by it. There was nothing. There was a hole in the ground. Nothing. I almost missed the house as I was driving by because there was just nothing. It was gone. So I would prefer to have my propane tank in the house. I got 3 in the camper right now. Now, a fifth wheel RV. I've seen a fifth wheel RV. They have a little cubby hole in the front of the RV right next to the battery bank. And they put the propane tanks there, fifth wheel RV. So it's not unheard of that you bring these little 20-pound propane tanks into your house, or your camper, or whatever. My thinking is I have a propane monitor, and you put it low to the ground because propane is heavier than air. You put it low to the ground underneath the propane tank, and if you have a leak, you can shut off the propane tank. Or you can do things to get rid of it. But it's going to let you know you got a leak before it gets out of hand. A lot of people said I need to run the hose through the house and into the water heater. Well, the thing is every time I have a propane leak, it's not from the tank. It's from the hose. The hose wear out and they leak. So what do? You immediately shut off the propane tank. Well, the suggestions from the commenters suggest that I got to have it outside in the little box that I showed you. So that means I got to run all the way outside, got to get dressed if I'm, in the shower or, wherever. I got to get dressed and I got to run all the way outside. All the while, the place is filling up with propane next to a stove. We're talking minutes that it's going to take me to get out there. In my thinking is, if I have a propane leak, I can close off the propane tank here and, get it outside. Get rid of it quickly. Even if I have to cut the hose, but it's all right here. And I don't even have to do it while I'm dressed. To me, it's safer in the house. So all the comments and the nasty comments and all those things, I actually have thought this through a lot in my nomadic lifetime. I've been doing the nomad life for 3 years, and we've been up here for a year. So for 4 years, propane is my #1 concern. And carbon monoxide. And again, if you want to put it outside, that's your business. So today, Carolyn was installing the floor. Now, to give you a little history, a few months ago, a guy came by. He lives down the hill from us, a ways. And he says, I got some flooring material. I would love to give you free of charge. We have too much. He says, I think I got plenty for you to do your house. He says, how big is your house? I said, 200 square feet. He said, oh yeah, I got plenty. So he went down and got it and picked it up. I even offered, do you want me to go down and get it? No, I'll bring it up to you. And so he had 3 or 4 boxes of this material. I got a little piece here. It was brand new. It was great stuff. He had some that he had trimmed up, cut holes around and different things. And it just seemed odd that he gave away so much material. Why would you buy that much extra material? It never made sense to me. And the thing is Lowe's has a little calculator on it. I didn't use it, but this morning I went over there to Lowe's.com and it says, okay, let's get started. Measure your house and then come back and do this step 2 and step 3. So, and then they can come in and install it. So it seems to me that it's not that hard to figure out how much you need and to have that much left over. And so many scrap pieces. So Carolyn started about 3 days ago working on our new floor. And she would get about 3 boards out and they would all start popping up. It was infuriating, and she was so frustrated. Carolyn and I have an amazing relationship. I can't tell you how great it is. Even when we get a little frustrated with each other, we seem to figure it out without ever having to say we're sorry or admitting that we were wrong. It's a really good relationship. There are times where, relationships just get frustrating, I guess, sometimes. Very rarely with us. But today it happened. This floor brought out the worst in both of us. It's terrible. It's a tongue and groove connection. And we tried to film it. Now, it's hard to film anything when Carolyn's around because she doesn't want to be on camera. So making it even more difficult. But you have this little tongue and then the other piece slides into here. And then you have another tongue and groove at the end that you got to get in there. Till you figure that out, it's terrible. I came up here yesterday and I thought we figured it out and she was all happy again. She worked up here, several hours. And I came up this morning and she started working on it and I said, it's popping up over here. I kind of jumped in. I know I was wrong, probably. That's fine. In the end, of course, we're happy again. It doesn't take long for us to recover. We just kind of get snippy. I know what it is Carolyn and I are very independent people, both of us. And so we would rather do things on our own. She works very well by herself. I work very well by myself. And when we have to work with somebody else, it's aggravating. Well, imagine 2 independent people who want to be working by themselves, working together, getting aggravated at each other. There was something wrong with this material. There were pieces that are warped and misshaped. Now, after it's all said and done, there were a lot of pieces that you could tell that he damaged, the guy who gave it to us. I think what happened, Carolyn actually thinks this. She told me what her thoughts were. We think that they bought it, tried to install it, and said to heck with it. This is just too complicated. And took it all apart, put it back in the box, and gave it to us. because I mean, there's still a lot left. Look at it. I mean, we did our entire place. They did their entire place apparently, and there's that much left. So that tells you that there's something wrong with the measurements that he took to do it. What you have to do is you have to take this little hammer and a block, and they have special tools, and of course, if you don't have the tools, it makes it that much more difficult. But we had this hammer and block, and you got to, hammer it in, but you got to be careful you don't smash the tongue on the tongue and groove, so you got to come up above the lip of the tongue. So here's an example, is we weren't able to get this one tight. It's not that I'm not recommending that you do the floor yourself, but be ready to be aggravated about the whole thing. It is frustrating, to say the least. But in the middle of it all, she says, I want a divorce. Yeah, well, she won't do it. She's a good woman. So I hope you can find the perfect partner for your dream. Thanks for watching.